last year. This is one of my favorite documentaries ever fucking made, but it's also one of my favorite stories behind a documentary ever made, man. This is a passion project and a fucking half, and it turned into a useful fucking document, for heaven's sakes, man. Entertaining as fuck, and it tells a great story about a movie that didn't happen, man.
The Hollywood that never was is always this fascinating subject. The thing that the road's not taken. And to fucking like Superman, how do you not make a Superman movie? This movie tells you how you don't make a Superman movie.
And with access to incredible personalities, access to footage that they briefly shot, that Tim Burton briefly shot, a fantastic interview with Tim Burton. Find a Tim Burton interview. It's like finding a fucking unicorn with 2 horns. That's how fucking rare that thing is, man. But he's there being frank as fuck.
Or a cow.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
2 horns. 2 horns. That's a good point. Yeah.
I mean,
I guess it's no longer a unicorn. It's unicow.
Rams.
Try finding a unicow with 2 fucking horns. So like, here's one.
How much milk does a unicow make?
Enough to make this fucking milk fan happy. All over my face, naked chest. Why are we talking about a mythical unicow when we have the real unicow in the room with us, man? The guy behind this fantastic film, The Death of Superman Lives. What happened? I was here for The Death of Superman Lives in real life. The movie's better. I'm happy to report that, man. Go to 3 Shot, give it up for the master, Jon Schnepp.
What's up, everyone? Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
Yay.
Schnepp, give them your geek bona fides. You go beyond this movie, like Metalocalypse. Tell them everything.
Sure. So I started working on as an editor on Space Ghost Coast to Coast back in before Cartoon Network. I started Adult Swim.
Were you there when I did the show?
No, I think
second season.
I didn't do that second season. I did the first season, like the 7th episode, where like Zorak goes to his home planet to mate.
Yes.
And then 2 years later, they like ordered like 24 of them, and they had an editor out here in LA, and I was living in Chicago at the time, and they were like, dude, like I'd gone to Atlanta. They were like, you want to come out? You know, we'll put you up. You work as an editor in LA. I was like, hell yeah. So did that for like 6 months, went back to Chicago, then came back and did it for 6 months. And so then I decided to move out here. Then I worked on Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I like designed all their like Carl's pool and like the shake door and stuff like that.
What the fuck?
And played the Wisdom Cube in that just as a voice. And then designed the characters of Death Clock for Metalocalypse. Went on to direct that for 4 seasons. And then did Marvel's Black Panther. I directed like 2 episodes of that. And then Venture Brothers season 4. And then I started doing, I did like Morgan Spurlock's Comic-Con, A New Hope, like the You're In. I did that as well, just talking about, you know, making cartoons and stuff and being a comic book fan, because that's really why I was in the movie. I've been a comic book fan my entire life, and that kind of led me to start doing these talking head things. So I started doing the AMC Movie Talk show, which is now Collider Movie Talk. But while I was doing Metalocalypse, I stopped doing that, and I ran a Kickstarter for like a kind of a heavy metal adult cartoon, because they don't make adult cartoons for anybody now. So I had to raise $175,000 on Kickstarter to make a Grimm Fairy Tales like animated cartoon, which has sex and violence and all this kind of crazy cool music.
Kind of like the old heavy metal.
Yeah, I wanted to make a homage to that shit. So
like a Bakshi movie.
Yeah, so I did that, and then during the course of a couple of years, you know, while I was working on Metalocalypse and doing this stuff, I had obviously seen your take on what you did with the screenplay and the John Peters, the Spider, and all that stuff, which is amazing. It's like, you know, I would watch that a couple times, like, I'd be like, this is a fantastic story.
There's a story that I told on very first evening with Kevin Smith DVD about working on the Superman script.
Yeah, and then I think in like 2000, I want to say 2008, like those first pictures, that like the Polaroid of Nicolas Cage, kind of looked like it was like, is that an action figure glued onto his body? None of us believed it was real. It was like, fuck it, it's Photoshop. That's not real. You know, he looks all, you know, is that a beaded necklace? You couldn't tell because it's all fucked up. So that, and then some artwork had dropped previous to that I was like, made me interested in the design of the film. It felt like, oh, this is, you know, Tim Burton's take on Superman, but it was going to be kind of like this science fiction-y, more like, you know, a different take. And then in 2006, when Superman Returns came out, I remember I didn't like it. I fell asleep. My producing partner, as well as my lady Holly, and I were at Superman Returns, and she woke me up twice because I fell asleep in the movie because nothing really happens in it, and it's
you gotta wait till the 3rd act. He punches the fucking shit out of that island, dude.
I know, that's right. He really devastates.
Like, you better punch somebody. He punches an island.
Made out of kryptonite.
You were born because it was basically the '78 Superman movie.
Yeah.
Again.
I needed to see something besides Lex Luthor buying land again. I was like, what is going on?
Oh my God, this guy and his fucking real estate scam.
I know.
It's like, that's your greatest villain?
Yeah. And it's a dirty island too. It's all gross. They're like, who wants to live there? And none of it made sense. So I remember like, well, there was all these other Superman films that they tried to make because it was like 17 years before that one got made.
Right.
So I just like started doing some research on the Superman Lives and trying to find artwork on it. I just had my own little folder on my desktop that I'd just do for myself and be like, some more like fucking like Superman Lives concept design, Google, and then like fucking scroll through people's Facebook pages like, here's my weird, oh shit, drag that on my desktop, throw it in the folder. I didn't know even why I was doing it. It was just like a little side thing I did because I was like, I'm interested, like it's my own fucking weird quest or whatever.
So what was the thing that unlocked the? I think I can make a documentary out of it. What was the holy grail of holy shit? Like this thing, I got a movie.
Well, you know what? It was not a specific thing. It was more so like we went to Meltdown and Dean Atwood was there, talking about their music videos. And sitting right next to me was Steve Johnson, the guy who built all those latex like rainbow suits and stuff. And I had seen him on YouTube. And so some people introduced me like, oh, this is the guy who makes Metalocalypse. This is the guy who created Slimer. So we were like just talking about the business and that.
Wait, go back. Who created Slimer?
Steve Johnson.
Really?
Yeah.
So he was the guy that was working on the Superman suit in the Tim Burton Superman movie.
Yeah.
So aside from Slimer, what else did that dude do?
He worked on American Werewolf in London, David Cronenberg's Videodrome. I mean, The Thing. That dude's done it all. He's a fantastico. So I met him, and then when he went to the bathroom, I Googled him. I was like, that dude looks familiar. I typed his name in. I was like, that's a Superman dude. So when he sat down, I was like, oh, man, you made those Superman suits. He all like looked at me all weird, turned kind of white, and was like, yeah. Didn't want to talk to me anymore. Yeah.
Holy shit,
I got
shut down, man.
Shut down. He's like, nah, you're not going to make fun of me. Like, no. I'm like, so then we went out to dinner later that night with some friends right across the street at Toy, and I brought that up. Yeah. I brought it up. I was like, hey, just off the cuff, I was sitting next to the special effects guy who made these Superman light-up suits, and a couple of people were like, oh, so what's your interest in that? I just told them I've been collecting this stuff, I've got all this cool artwork, but I feel like there's a lot more to it, and they were like, one of my friends said, oh, you should make a documentary. I was like, I don't make documentaries. And someone else was like, you could raise the money on Kickstarter. And I was like, nah. And then like about a month later, because this was in November of 2013, about a month later, I was like, man, fuck it, no one's gonna make this shit. And I want to actually see what there is. There might be a lot more. I feel like, when you feel like you're at the top of an iceberg, you're like, there has to be, if they did this, this, and this, there has to be more.
Yes.
So I just felt that way, and I was like, no. And I talked to some friends who are like, dude, no one wants to see that. What are you, insane? They thought I was nuts.
They're fucking stupid.
Well, now
those people are dumb.
I felt like I was like, oh, well, you know what? Litmus test. Kickstarter, ran it. It went all around the world. And then I was like, okay, I can make it in 8 months. I totally had no clue as to the reality of making a movie. I was like, I'm used to scripts. Oh, okay, I'll storyboard
ignorance
that.
will go a long way in some cases.
Yeah.
It'll get you in production, not knowing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, so it took a while. I remember reaching out, and you were like, hey, when my schedule clears up, we locked you down like about, I think it was February of 2014.
People kept being like, this is happening.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm
so
ready.
that, and then through kind of like the internet just helping me out, someone who was working on Almost Human was like, yo, dude, I don't want to get fired. I'm not telling you my name, but here's the production manager of Big Eyes, because they were shooting in Canada, right? Here's their number and their email. I was like, thank you so much, whoever you are,
Right.
So I wrote a really nice email, and then I left a really nice message. I didn't hear anything for like 2 months. And then Derek Fry, who's Tim Burton's executive producer, contacted me. He was like, hey, Tim's not sure if he wants to be involved, but he knows about your thing. How long can you wait? And I was like, I could wait forever. Right. So I was like, this
He's
is
your
that.
spine. It'd be tough to make that doc without him.
Yeah, so he said, you know what? He contacted me like 3 months later, and then it was towards the end of 2013. And no, I'm sorry, 2013. And he said, come out to London in March of 2014. So we talked to Kevin, we talked to Tim like about a month after we talked to you. Right. So that was March of 2014. And he kind of unlocked everything. Let me bring up Holly Payne. She produced the film with me.
Holly Payne is Schnepp's producer, man, and in his creativity and his profession, and is producer in personal life as well. These guys are getting married when?
In December.
Yep.
I was there the night after.
Yeah.
You guys,
I proposed on the premiere night, so that was the. Then we had 700 people in the audience, so he couldn't really say no.
Did you put that on the DVD?
Yes.
That's on there
It's
as well,
on there.
so you can see that moment. Go ahead. We brought you in to talk about how you fucking did this, and he watched.
Well, Tim Burton was the key to the kingdom. I mean, once we actually met with him, like Jon said, we didn't know that we had an interview with him until we got there to his house. So we met with him. He kind of could tell instantly that we were weirdos and artists, and he was like, all right, I kind of get these people's vibe, and we geeked out about Hammer horror films and children's illustrators and some weird stuff, and within 10 minutes he said, yeah, I'll do this thing. So we shot it 2 days later.
Really?
Yeah, and I've never seen, before and since, I've never seen Tim Burton in a more relaxed state.
I agree. Like I said, it's tough to find footage of him being interviewed.
Yeah.
But it's really tough to find footage of him being as casual and comfortable as he is in this documentary.
Everything else I've
Yeah.
ever seen was on like Entertainment Tonight back in
And
the
he's
day.
really
for,
kinda
like,
closed off
Planet of
and-
the
yeah.
Apes and Batman and stuff. And he hated the camera. He hated talking in public. He's just not that guy.
He wants to make his stuff, let it speak for
Yeah.
itself and stuff. But this was an example of like, well, I get to tell a story that a lot of people have asked me about for years, so I could see the benefit of like, oh my God, I'm gonna go on the record.
Yeah, and he didn't even want the questions in advance. He was like, no, let's just flow. Let's just go with this.
The big get though, he's your big get, he's your spine. But the fucking fantastic get was Peters, and he was the last to come through. If
He was.
A month before the premiere of the movie.
I remember your tweet or her tweet going like,
Yeah.
I can't believe it, but we just got fucking Peters. And I
Yeah.
saw that tweet and I was like, boy, I wonder what he's gonna say. I've been telling this story for 20 years. I can't wait to hear what he says.
But you know what's funny is that we were sitting on that night that you were there. We were sitting like 4 rows back from you, watching the film for the first time, and
We were at the Egyptian? At the Egyptian in Los
in the
Angeles,
balcony.
beautiful theater.
Yeah, and just seeing your reactions and you just like shaking your head and then cracking up at
I
certain
was
things. And then I
dying.
saw you like, he actually said that. And
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It was like literally getting in a DeLorean, going back in time, and sitting in his office again. Like
Yeah.
he said the same fucking shit. But the one thing he says, which is like one of my favorite moments in the movie, is like, you know, I've been in over 500 street fights.
Totally.
And he says it with like not a fucking hint of like, that can't possibly be
I
true.
now want the movie of John Peters Street Fighter.
Yes! It's like, why does he waste his time with fictional films? Like, do your life story and stuff, which they did kind of in the movie Shampoo.
Yeah.
If you believe him, he says that's based on him.
I don't recall Warren Beatty beating 500 people up. In that movie.
Street Fighter.
Like, how many fights do you have to be in a week to hit 500?
How many people, I mean, think about
I'm just
it.
saying, the numbers don't bear it out.
365 days in a year, so you're literally fighting almost every day.
I will
Almost
tell
every
you
day.
this much though, he's a badass.
Yeah, he's
I
a
mean,
big dude.
in real life, he's a badass.
He's a
If you
black
look at
belt. He
his-
choked me out on one of the covers. You see
Yeah.
me getting choked out
Yes.
by him.
He's got. I mean, you look at his hands.
Yeah.
He used to beat up his own fender just to break his knuckles so that he would bulk up his hands to fight better. And the guy's been in jail so many times that it's like
Peters?
Yeah. He's
No, he had a rough-
he's a
a
real.
rough
He
childhood.
is the
I
real
gotta stop
deal.
talking about this guy.
No,
You're a
he's
fucking
parents,
hairdresser. He's like, I'll put you in
No,
the
he's.
But
he's
so I
the
believe
real
the
deal.
over 500. It's because it was like in his youth, like you know, it wasn't like
that's what-
This hand is all broken bone.
Yeah.
500 street fights.
But yeah, that interview.
I don't
with
even
him-
think Batman's been in 500 street fights.
My favorite quote is like when he's like, "I wanted to see the blood in this. I wanted that for Batman and Superman." Where you're like, "What?" But
What does that have to do with
Well,
anything?
because he was like, I get like after talking
He's
with
from
him,
the streets.
I saw where he was coming from because he didn't read comics.
No.
So it was like you're like, I know Superman. He's like, look, I don't care if it's about Superman. This is what we're doing. So it was like it was this this idea of what he thought the kids wanted to see, like to be tough. You know, he saw all the the tattoos of Batman and Superman because of that Batman movie. So he wanted to make sure Superman isn't going to be a joke on this one. And he was using stuff that we of course make fun of all the time, like Superman and Nuclear Man, the quest for peace. He saw that and he's like, he's not fighting that dude. And that weird orange, like with the weird like shink, like
With the magic fingernails.
Yeah, so he's like, nah, he's got to fight a giant creature.
Yeah.
So, and it's like that old school producer mentality where you totally get it. Like he's like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. You were like, I know, but he can fight Mongol, or he could fight Bizarro, or
You
he
could
could
pull a zillion characters
Yeah.
from a toy box, but this guy, like his whole thing was like, I saw King Kong recently, and we need a King Kong moment here.
Totally.
He's doing old school Hollywood producing, putting elements together based on things you've seen before, or he's seen before more specifically, that would make him excited to
Right.
see the movie. This is a way they don't really do it that much anymore.
Right.
It's not really put together that piecemeal. But there was a time where that's the only way it was fucking done. And apparently that's how it was kind of done on 1989's Batman, according to him. I remember him talking about like, one of my favorite Jon Peters stories. He goes, you know that scene in Batman where he's fighting with the swords in the alley? And you know, I do remember it, but like you ask any normal person who saw that movie, like, when did that happen? You're like, in the alley real quick. It's maybe fucking 12
Guy
seconds.
screaming, yeah!
And guy comes over a fence and Batman blocks a few shots and kicks him in the face. Stolen out of Raiders of the Lost Ark with the boom shooting the guy moment. But I said, yeah, totally, I remember that. He's going, that was a real swordsman. I said, oh, right on. He goes, that's why that movie made $250 million.
You want to
wait,
hear
but-
my
yeah,
favorite
yeah.
story that he told us? Like we met with him afterwards, after the film. He wanted to hang out and just talk some stuff. He told we were just shooting about like different stuff. And he's like, we're talking about Batman. He's like, well, you know, I dated Vicky Vale. He's like refers
He
to her
did
as
the
Vicky.
fucking same thing to me.
He did say that
But-
to us.
so-
But the other thing too is that he also said he said the same story to us about the sword that's on the Blu-ray.
Right. But here's the story.
I'm not lying, kids.
Here's the story that a lot of people don't know. So he
Okay.
said, all right, so with Batman, like, you know, I wanted to increase Vicky Vale's role a little bit. I want to give her a scene. So, like, we had this scene where, you know, Bruce Wayne shows up at her house. I wanted to make it a little bit better. So me and Tim, I said, Tim, you got to come with me. And they brought the writer, the writer on the set.
Warren Scarn, I think.
Yeah, and so they sat down, and he had Tim play the Joker, and John Peters played Batman, or Bruce Wayne, and they acted out that entire scene where it's like smashing the thing. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. You know,
And Warren Scarn had to be like, okay.
yeah, and he wrote that whole.
Worth
So
it.
to me, it's really exciting to hear that, like, you know. But
How
that's
did the worst scene in Batman happen? Now we know.
Yeah, John Peters basically was like, I created that scene for Vicky Vale.
It
so.
makes sense, I guess. Like when you watch the scene, it sticks out like a sore fucking thumb. I do remember when he was like, I was dating Vicky Vale at the time. I was like, I know her real name, dude. You could use her real name. I was like, were you hanging out with the Joker as well?
She has an Oscar. It's totally fine. You can say her name.
Oh, he's a character.
No, but he told us that story, which is funny because it was like I'd heard you say it, I think, on the evening with
Yeah.
Kevin Smith, and then there's certain stories that he likes to tell, and that's definitely one of the ones he likes to tell.
He feels that's why that movie succeeded.
Yeah, and
Those
also, I mean,
elements.
he wanted those fights. He thought polar bears were a viable option. You know, that those are
Oh
really
yeah, I
scary
know.
creatures.
I sat there listening for
You know?
2 months, going, okay, polar bears.
Sure.
Here we go. Yeah, he's fascinating to watch in the documentary. But the documentary itself is fascinating just because you found this fucking niche, dude, that like, I know I've said it to you before, I'll say it again. You gotta keep doing this. Trank. Reach out to fucking Trank right now and start the Fantastic Four doc.
Well, I'll tell you, Holly and I are developing a TV series that will be encompassing all these.
Uh-oh.
That's awesome!
Apparently you're
I
not supposed
can't-
to tell us that.
That's fucking
Yeah.
dope, dude. Like, that's even better. Never mind, like, fucking spending 2 years of your life. Get a crew and do a series. Fuck, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Let History Channel pay for it.
All right,
Yeah.
that's some.
That's
Take that, internet.
Or a
Run with
movie
that.
channel of some sort. But that's fucking brilliant, man.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I'd love to have you come on.
In a heartbeat.
Like, yeah, so-
Oh my God.
It'll
But
be a lot of
what a
fun.
good fucking idea
Yeah,
that
we have
is.
some really good ones in the pike too. I mean, just ones you've been thinking about for years. You know,
Yeah.
Justice League.
So
you name
my
it.
God, you get George Miller,
We got
who's like,
the flyby, Superman flyby.
It won't just be like a list.
yes,
show,
with
you know?
fucking,
We'll
with
get to talk to
McGee.
him.
Yeah, because you know what was weird? Like while we were doing this documentary, all this other stuff started getting uncovered, and so we ended up getting all this crazy stuff that we didn't know existed, and we're like, "What's this? What's that?" So it sort of, and then just sat there while we finished this film, and you know, obviously there's a lot of other stuff we've been working on, doing different this and that, but that kind of like came about, and so you know, you'll be hearing about it very soon as far as that. But
Isn't it fucked up, man? Your whole life you thought of yourself as one thing, and then you start getting jobs, and they start to go, "Oh, I'm this thing as well." But you never thought you were a documentarian, did
No.
you? And then one day you're like, it's the exact mindset. You're like, who's gonna do it? If I don't fucking do it, nobody's gonna do it. And shit.
Right.
And you did it. And now you're fucking one more arrow in your quiver, dude. It's
Well,
crazy.
it ended up being
Indiana
like
Jones of buried treasure in Hollywood.
it was a lot.
Obtainer of rare
it was-
antiquities.
It was a lot
This
of
belongs
work.
in a museum.
People need to see this. You know, that's kind of, it's that desire and drive, like loving comic book art and loving just the behind the scenes aspect, having worked in animation, doing storyboards. You see how much work goes into all this. And I feel like it's almost to the studio's benefit to say, look, you've got your movie, look at these other versions. I mean, I would love to see a Superman Lives art book. We don't own that art, but the artwork that we uncovered and that's in the film, and you see all the artists talking about it, it's so cool to see the different versions of Doomsday or the different versions of Krypton. We've got that now. We've got Man of Steel. We've got that version of Krypton, which is totally different than the Richard Donner version of Krypton. And guess what? In 10, 15 years, there'll be another version of Krypton. There'll be another Superman. So I've always looked at movies as like an Elseworlds.
Yeah.
Because as a comic nerd, all of us are comic nerds. We've seen all the different versions of Batman. Oh, here's the Frank Miller. Here's the Doug Menck and like Gene Colan and all the different ways you could see.
Doug Menck.
Yeah, there's all these different versions of these characters. So I never get all too worked up. Like it's like I don't like that spandex or the weird leather outfits of the X-Men. I was like, this is for regular people.
Yeah.
Man. People like we're into. They're not reading the comics.
Well,
And you should be happy that there's actually a version that somebody other than your clique can dig on, because then it gets bigger.
Totally.
Like then more people enjoy it. Like we now live in a time 20 years ago, you remember it wasn't like this, where everybody's like superhero culture, pop culture is the culture at this point. Go ahead.
I was going to say one of the things that we hear a lot from fans and from Twitter and that is that people want to see a Superman Lives graphic novel, but the thing is that because there was no finished script, it could be up to anybody.
Which one is it? You could literally
Yeah.
do 5 different books.
Right.
But at this point they're like, why bother? That's in our tail lights. That's a book. That's a movie that didn't even happen.
Yeah.
But you could mint a little money off it. Like I think it'd be smart for them to be like if I'm Warner Brothers, I would have bought this, because it's like, hey man, more money we could amortize and make back
Right.
off that Superman movie that never happened.
Yeah.
It's good for the bottom line.
But if you make 5 different Superman Live comic books, it's like Clue, the movie. Like you gotta see every ending.
Yes.
You gotta collect them all.
That's how you sell the book.
And they're very different. Like Kevin's script is very different from Wesley's, which is very different from Dan Gilroy's. Even though they have some of the same story beats in them, they're totally different. So you could have different artists do
Good
each
project,
one.
man.
Yeah.
I mean, they own those scripts anyway, so they don't
Yeah.
even have to pay for the fucking
No.
material again. You just got to put an artist on it and shit, and that's a way to sell 5 of those books.
Yeah.
For our
DC, you could
series,
have that
too,
shit ready.
One of the things that
Yeah,
I'm
it's
hoping
pretty
for the series, if it happens, because Nick Cage was hard to get to.
Yeah.
Ultimately, he said no.
But you got the footage of them, which is more
We did-
important,
it
and
is more
honestly
important.
better than a Nick Cage interview.
Yeah.
That footage captured a fucking moment in time and his thought process,
Yes.
which was way more
No,
important.
put you right there.
Him going this is what I feel like Clark Kent would look like now, and he's dressed like a fucking nerd, a Miami Vice-ish kind of nerd. But it was kind of like, oh, that's brilliant, rather
Yeah.
than just doing the suit and the glasses and shit. He's really going the
Just
distance.
his thought process of where he's laughing because he hears a comedian from 3 blocks down the street. It's because Nick Cage is a comic book nerd. He had tons of boxes and boxes of long boxes. He like Cage.
His name
Luke
is
Cage.
His
You
name
know,
his name
Yeah.
is Kid Kal-El, right?
Yeah.
So he chose his last name as Cage from Luke
Yeah.
Cage.
Absolutely. But for the series, I'm hoping maybe we can, persuade him for a follow-up.
Grab him.
Maybe now would be the time.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I know he has a copy. I gave him and his manager copies of the film.
He comes
so-
off incredibly well in it.
Yeah.
Like,
He does.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Even Peters. Peters comes
Yeah.
off well. He's eccentric as fuck, but
He loves the movie. Peters loves the movie.
no doubt, dude. No
He said
doubt. I
he's
know
never
that.
been represented better.
Because he's representing himself.
Yeah.
I went out there, I did that evening with Kevin Smith DVD, and it was a long time ago, almost 20 years ago. But I heard back from an agent once, he was like, I saw John Peters today, and I was like, what the fuck was that like? He said to say he loved the evening with. He thought he came off really well, and I'm like, did he watch it? But he did. He liked the way it was represented. He sees himself as that guy who's like, yeah, I've been in 500 street fights. Why is that weird? And you're like, I guess it's not. Fascinating fucking man. I remember when I went to his office back in the day, he had a giant blown up cover of Superman versus Muhammad Ali. Gigantic, fucking huge and shit. I was like, is this the next movie? He's like, maybe.
He wishes.
Could you imagine? Boy, oh boy, man. This doc, though, if you haven't seen it yet, kids, this is the move right here, man. This is fucking the doc. Most people are like, I don't like documentaries. They're medicine. This ain't fucking medicine.
Nope.
It was sad to watch this end.
It's
I'll
a
just say that 'cause
Flintstones
of that.
chewable of medicine.
Well, yeah, and we made it available. It's just on our own website, tdoslwh.com, which is basically the death of Superman Lives, what happened. So you can get a digital download, or you can get a physical copy like this.
And it's also been on TV. I've seen quite a few people I just watched this on fucking
It's on Showtime. Yeah, we licensed it to Showtime, and then through Showtime, because of Hulu Plus, you can get some kind of weird swirly deal with all that kind of stuff. But it's available to be seen online.
One of the things I love about not just this documentary, but the way that you took the documentary into the world is you were not afraid to fucking hustle. Indie filmmaker hustles their work. Now, some cats someone buy it and you do all the work and shit, but when you love something and you know you got something and you know you can connect with an audience, particularly if you're out there fucking dog and ponying it, you can fucking make your loot, man. You can go out and do business. And you guys have been touring the movie for the better part of a year.
Yeah.
You've been everywhere. And you've gone overseas.
Yeah, we went
It's
Australia,
completely
Canada,
built
London.
from the ground up. I mean, there's not even distribution. We self-distributed it, so it's all been this core team, basically me and John and our editor Marie, and it's been like a 5-person team at most for the whole time. And the fact that it's gotten this far is pretty amazing. But it says a
fucking
lot.
Showtime sale. Like,
Yeah.
there are a lot of indie filmmakers
It's
can't
possible.
say the same thing.
You can fucking do this shit. It
Yeah.
actually happens.
And,
So-
and VHX, that's the site that we're there. That's instrumental in like helping us like get paid back for the money we put into the film as every digital sale. So we didn't make our money back yet. So definitely, if you want to buy the film or rent it, please do from our website because that helps us.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, you're a big inspiration. You took your film Red State out. You're one of those
I
guys
love
who.
that when you went out and toured, I was like, finally. It's like I felt for a while, I was like, anybody else gonna do this? And it was nice to see you guys do it. It's like, it's a absolutely fucking viable model, man.
Totally.
Because for as many people who could watch that, there's many people, maybe, let's say half, will sit around and fucking talk about it after it's done. They'll talk about it with their friends, but they'd love to talk about it with fucking filmmakers and stuff. But I watched you guys on Twitter. You went everywhere. You went over to England, Australia, and shit like that. Isn't that
Canada.
amazing? Like, kids, you can't fucking sit here and listen to this story and be like, yeah, my ideas are fucking stupid. They had a cool idea that they were like, I want to see it. More than anything else, they weren't sitting there going, let's make money and travel the world. They were like, I just want to see this fucking movie. It's possible. We could do it. They did it, and it took them everywhere. It took them incredible fucking places, not just like, hey, it kickstarted a career where now, as you can hear, this is their fucking thing, man. Fuck off. This is their niche. But it brought them places in the world. Like, why would you wait? Like, that's brilliant, man. That's just fucking, it makes me so happy. It's so hardcore indie, you guys.
Thanks.
You got to believe in your own idea, and you got to be able to work and do the work.
It's the hustle. There's
That's
a
the
hustle
hustle,
to it, too.
yeah.
Like, I know some filmmakers who, like, work on, I know a filmmaker working on a doc right now, and he's very aware of this doc, and he's just like, I'm hoping to sell it, because I don't know if I don't have the energy to do what Schnepp is doing, going around and stuff like that. It does take energy. But when you love something, like, this is their fucking kid in advance of their kids. Like, this is what they put together and whatnot. Like, you can watch this, every frame of this movie again and again and again, and probably have, because, like, you know what you put into it. How difficult it was to pull that together. Landing this interview, which then landed this, man. But it's nuts. Like, not anybody could do this because this is yours, but anybody could sit there and be like, I want to go make a film. I want to go pursue this. I mean, the thing that would scare most people off about this is like Warner Brothers. What about licensing and shit like that? Tell them that. Tell them how safe that is.
well,
too.
with fair use, I mean, I looked into it and talked to a great lawyer, about a few months after, like, I read all of the fair use doctrine before I even started the Kickstarter. It's like a 75-page thing, and I was like, okay, as long as I adhere to this and transform the footage, there's all these certain things that you have to do if you're going to use other people's footage, that kind of stuff. So then after talking with this lawyer, I felt 100% confident. As long as I do exactly what is legal, I have zero fear. So moving into that, like, I never had any fear about that. So.
But here's the thing: there are ways to do it that are going to work and ways that are not going to work. And Warner Brothers is one of the most litigious companies out there.
Yeah.
So, the fact that initially when we first reached out to them, because we did reach out to them, we were like, we're making this documentary. They were like, we're aware of it. We're not going to help you at all.
But good luck.
But
They were
good
really
luck.
nice. It was
Yeah,
curt.
they were like,
Same thing with DC.
Here's 3 sentences.
But ultimately, if you go through fair use and you are transforming that footage and you're putting it out there and you're going by the guidelines of how many seconds you can have this footage on screen, all that stuff, it can be done. You just can't basically take somebody else's idea and go, all right, I'm doing
Yeah, there's a couple of other films that are in the making of process where, they're like, oh, I'm having trouble because I have all this footage. I'm like, because you're not transforming it. You need to have somebody talking specifically about that scene, use less of it.
You can't just put footage
Yeah,
in.
you can't just show a clip.
But
That's
you
it.
guys also, aside from like footage of shit that exists or went theatrical, like you had footage of shit that, like, who owns that footage? You know what I'm
That's
saying?
Tim. That's Tim and Derek Fry.
Yeah.
They were the ones that gave you all
Yeah.
that.
And there's 45 minutes of that fucking shit. We couldn't. That hurts because we couldn't put that.
You could make a whole fucking half
Exactly.
of a movie of just
We'll
would be
show
that.
you
nice.
all that if you want, just like,
Yeah,
because
we'll
we
do
were
a
like in
private
London
party.
just watching that, we're like, oh my God, what is this? We didn't know
I
it
would imagine you
existed.
just sit
You're
there watching
calling
it
each
going
other.
like, they're
Yeah.
talking to each other like real people.
Exactly.
It's like Nick Cage is like, I'm Kryptonian, and we have these laws. You're
yeah.
like, what's in the crowd? I mean, it's like some crazy stuff where you're like, they're working out like what they're gonna do and what is the cape and what's this and what's that. So they're trying to figure it out and how this new context of the Superman mythology that they're building.
That shit is gold, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that footage of him wearing what his thoughts of the Clark Kent outfit are. Like the footage of him in the suit, very cool. But the Clark Kent thing is a real fucking insight into an actor's process where I'm like, for years everyone was like, Nick Cage, what a weird choice. And in that one moment, I was like, that wouldn't have been weird at all. Like that guy knew.
He got
what
it.
the fuck he so got
Yeah.
it. You know? Fuck. Missed opportunity. But we saw him as Ghost Rider, so.
Yeah.
Virtually the same
Talk about
thing.
that.
Yeah. Or Drive Angry, the better version of Ghost Rider.
That's true. More hell. Yeah. The movie, of course, is The Death of Superman Lives. What happened? What is the website they can get it at?
You can get it at tdoslwh.com. Once again, that's The Death of Superman Lives. What happened? Just the first letter of each of that. I know it sounds hard to say. I've been saying it for so long. tdoslwh.com. I can sing that shit.
Say it when you're nut. You're like, TDO.
Yeah.
It is a fantastic doc. If you love movies about movies, or if you love just documentaries about interesting shit, like same way that you can sit around and watch, what is that fucking Durst thing?
Dune? Oh no.
Jodorowsky's Dune. Or
I was going to go for the one on
Terry Gilliam.
Jinx. The same way you sit around and watch the Jinx. This is like
uplifting.
a much shorter, less killy Jinx.
But like making a murderer, but not depressing or screaming at the TV.
There's 500 street fights in this movie.
Yeah.
Guess
You
what else
ain't
there
going to
is?
see them all, but you're going to hear about them for sure.
There's
man.
also hours and hours of Kevin Smith.
Yeah,
There's a lot,
excellent.
yeah.
on this.
If you're into my shit, I talk a lot more.
We
man.
actually talked about the Justice League and how you were offered that, like to take over the DC television universe, and that was back then.
That
with
wasn't even
Lorenzo.
TV Universe. That was Lorenzo Bonaventura going like, what if you were in This is so fucking weird. Whenever I think about it, I'm like, maybe I should have said yes. It was like 1996. I was working on Superman, and Lorenzo was running the studio at the time. Lorenzo Bonaventura went on to do the Transformers movies and other very successful big movies, but he was running Warner Brothers then. And so he was the one that okayed me to write Superman. And we went to dinner at his house, and he was going, I was thinking that, we have all these properties at Warner Brothers, all these licenses, and they could totally just be movie after movie. We just need somebody to oversee this division, somebody who could say it's always Batman and Superman, but what about all our other characters? So, and he asked me fucking point blank, he's like, how would you feel about running that? And, I was an indie filmmaker at the time. I was fucking 26. I was still Miramax dyed in the wool, and I was working for Warner Brothers, but, in my heart of hearts, I was like, I'm an indie filmmaker. So I was like, that would be cool. You should do that. I was like, I don't want to run it, though. I'm a filmmaker. I want to go make movies and stuff. He's like, you can make one of those. And I was like, I'm not really made to make fucking superhero movies. I'm happy to write them, but I was like, no. Like, dude gave me a shot to be Berlanti
I know, right?
before Berlanti, and I was like, nah.
Would you like the keys? No. This
but
pretty car?
now you're directing
Where's
a
that
Flash
DeLorean again?
episode.
I know, but like I could have owned the whole universe. And I'm telling you, kid, when somebody asks you if you want to run a division of Warner Brothers that's all about comic book movies, you say yes. Know what I was fucking thinking. But yeah, that's on the DVD as well. You can watch me tell a story about, just like I did, about one of the worst decisions I ever made.
There's also a whole hour of John Peters on there that's uncut.
Yeah,
Uncut John
Let me
Peters.
tell you something. That is worth the price of admission alone. That man is one of the most fascinating, entertaining public speakers I've ever
he
seen
is.
in my life. And you don't get to see him enough.
And his
So
hair
there's
is
a place.
amazing.
Of course, he's a
It's a
hairdresser.
bouffant.
Like he has a fucking head of hair to die for and shit, and a fist to kill you with. Killer fucking hairdresser. There it is, folks. Fuck, I can't sell this documentary to you enough. Go buy it though. Don't watch it for free on Showtime. Don't be a dick. Help them get out of the hole with it and shit like that, man. So that when you go make your project, then they buy your fuck. That's how it works.
Right on.
See what it
Pay
is,
it
man.
forward.
Be a Schnepp, be a Holly. Don't be sitting there going like, I got good ideas, but nobody wants to see them. They had a good idea, and look, and now it's a fucking Blu-ray. And they talked to Tim Burton. You know how I've been in this business 22 years. I talked to Tim Burton like maybe twice for a minute each time. They fucking sat down, and Tim Burton was like, "Come to my house, take my footage." Like that's the kind of shit that happens when you follow your dreams. Fuck. If you don't get it by now, you ain't gonna get it. Give it up for these
And
kids.
I chug milk too, just like
my
Kevin.
God.
Milk is
Yeah.
awesome.
Milk, kids. Milk does body good. They told us that in the 80s. Water's okay. As well.
Whatever.
There it is, man. Fucking another great episode of Fat Man Batman. If you're not watching this already, why the fuck didn't you turn this program off? Go
Jesus.
watch this. Holy
What's wrong
shit.
with you?
Get on it. It's fucking fantastic, man. Good luck, kids.
Hey,
They
thanks for
gotta
having
make
us on
way
the
more.
show.
Tell them where they can see you on a regular basis.
Oh, you can check me out. I'm on Collider Movie Talk, and
Which
also
I'll be on soon.
you're going to be on Collider Heroes, which is our superhero-based series that we do once a week. We just had Rob Liefeld on this week.
How was that?
It was great. We talked all Deadpool. We went through his whole history of Image.
Big moment for him, yeah.
Yeah, and he's so like excited and
I know, right?
like he's a big fun guy. I was like, I didn't know what he would be like. We talked about pouches for a little bit. And he was like, you know where he got the pouches? From SWAT.
Really?
Yeah, he had a really great answer. Like it was sort of like, well, where did all those pouches come from? And I wasn't trying to rip on him. I was just like, I wanted to know because he really kind of brought that to the forefront. I was like, no, SWAT. Look, they always have to have stuff where to put their weaponry. I'm like, actually makes sense.
Weird, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
So yeah.
All right, so there's Cloud of Heroes. Where else?
You can see me also my next documentary that I'm going to be starting in about a week and a half on Kickstarter. It's called Sweaties: Rise of the Uber Nerd, and it's all about the rise of superhero culture in movies and television, as well as the decline of superhero culture in comic books, and how we need to we need to get the support team together so that people are reading comic books, because that's where we got a lot of our knowledge and smarts and strength.
Give him a 2-shot. Fuck, this is important. 2-shot. There you go. Say it right in that goddamn camera.
Oh, so yeah, it's called Sweaties: Rise of the Uber Nerd, and I'm going to be shooting it over all the different Comic Cons this year, talking to a whole bunch of different creators, like Kevin, like all the people that you know, writers, artists, filmmakers. It's all about the movie centric world that we live in, where everyone knows who Iron Man is, but has never read an Iron Man comic.
Right.
And I just want people to know. I mean, you have all these films like coming out, like Doctor Strange. I want them to know about the Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and then I want them to know about all the different progressions and the greatest stories. It's sort of like a cool thing, because it's like, as comic books go out of business, every year 1,000 shops close. I mean, it's astonishing. And you're like, look, you know, if you're talking about the indie comic books, like in the 90s where they were selling 1 million copies each, now they're lucky to sell 60,000.
Yeah.
And those are the big number books. Oh, we sold 60,000 this month. So no one's really, you gotta give back to where it takes. It's like there's no one creating new characters now. So that's where all these comic book superhero movies have come from, are from the 60s and 70s and 80s, where there was a lot of creation happening, a lot of stories going. Now they're redoing those stories again and again, where that's what I just want to see that. I mean, there's a lot of new comics. I'm not trying to say that there aren't creative new comics going on. There's stuff to constantly follow. Ed Brubaker, The Fade Out. There's all these different Prophet, all these amazing new like comic books. But I just
He gets excited.
You know.
Yeah.
that's
No,
what
but rightfully so.
Yeah, I just
But
want
I mean,
to see
think
that
about
happen.
it. It's like when you got all the source material that gets ignored in favor of the video game or the movie version of it and stuff. Got to honor the source material is going to go away. You know, yeah, they've created. Now everyone looks at them as like, hey, we got our licenses. We can make fucking Captain America and Falcon do whatever we want. Right. But there's a reason those characters work and endure, man. They built all those Marvel movies and all these DC movies that are coming on the very strong fucking spine that has lasted longer than superhero movies will ever last. Yeah. The comic book source material is more important than the movie itself. But, you know, it's easier to watch a movie. It's way easier to kick back and be like, it's fucking good and stuff. I think it's smart. Drive people back to paper. Doesn't even have to be paper, it can be digital, but like, this is where it all came from. And you're absolutely right, man. Like, it's the same characters over and over. Now they're going deeper, digging deeper into the toy box and stuff like that, but nobody is really creating new characters. Like,
yeah, and I also want to see, like, we don't know what's going to happen. We have Comixology where people are trying to tell you to go digital. Yet whenever I do conventions, I ask how many people are buying digital comics, and I see like 3 hands go up. So people are either like just downloading them for free, or they're not buying them at all. So there's got to be a meeting ground somewhere, and we also have to push people forward towards that. Like with Deadpool, we have the largest audience of people who don't read comics who are going to go see that movie. Yeah. How do you turn them on to like what's the right comic? I always get, like, I'm sure as you guys get, what are the right comics to read? So I try to get them like just started with like the comic book crack, Dark Knight Returns, Watchmen, you know, just the ones that you're like, this will blow your mind. I always say Miracle Man, Book 3, Olympus. That's the other one.
Wow, what a fucking great pull.
Yeah,
man.
so it's like there's a whole bunch of these that I have that like on the top 10 list. You hit those, then you want more. You know, here's the rest. You know, like, it's like that kind of thing where it's
dealer.
like, yeah, I'm that dealer. The first one, the first
You're
10
a
are
paper
free.
dealer.
Taste is free.
Yeah, man, sprinkles. You know, whatever. It's
That's
like
smart, man. You're doing the Lord's work. It's like you got to drive them to the source material, and those are the books to hook them with.
But
Man,
I'm
throw
really
somebody
excited to
Dark Knight
hear
Returns.
and talk with you guys about what you think the future of comics are, because we're reaching that that future in the next 5 years where we need to make decisions like there are no more Borders books where young people especially, can mill about and buy a comic and then talk to another person who bought a comic. So you got to install like sit-down coffee houses in comic book stores, make it a place where people can hang out. I know you've got the secret stash. I mean, that's a super awesome thing. And the Comic Book Men is another thing. It's like, it's showing how cool going to a comic book store really is. It normalizes it like, how it should be. So
look, man, I'm with you, dude. It's a big part of the culture. We were just talking about something else earlier. You don't have moments like that. In the last episode, we were talking about like the Superman Family Annual I read. Like, you don't have these moments. Marc was talking about spreading out all the 12 issues of the first Secret War like on his desk and stuff. Kids don't have that today. Not even fucking kids. Adults don't have that today. Except they have old memories of doing it in the past. But current generation kids, like for years, it was churn and burn. You'd read comics and you'd age out of them. It didn't matter because there were kids right behind you reading comics. They'd age out of them as well. But now it's like everybody's aged out of them and there ain't no second class.
Right.
It's just like, wow.
I mean, comics, like they lost a generation when comics decided they wanted to age out of being children. Being children's content. Like they decided, we want to be adult content.
Right.
We want to, everybody gets a jacket
They were
and a
just
gun.
leaning to their market, though. They were like, who reads this shit? It ain't kids anymore. Like, there was a choice made, I think, rightfully so, to lean toward what was selling. Let's say, man, the industry is all adults, let's do adult books kind of and stuff. And, the kids weren't around, but maybe what should have been done, and it's easy to say in hindsight, is efforts to get kids tripled.
It was the late '80s when when Batman comes out, Hollywood the message was comics are not for kids anymore. That was the party line. That's how you get Batman to gross $300 million.
True.
And they followed that by making comics that weren't for kids, and they lost a generation. You can never get that space back.
Right. But you can make it that PG-13 space. You can get that part back because it's like where comics went are R-rated, and then it was like anything below that was like people. I'm not messing with that. So that's where like you had a 5, 6, 10, 15-year gap where people are like, now it's like people in raincoats going through old comics. You're like, hey, come on. It's not like that, but it feels like that because people are older. Like I want to get those. Nobody buys cowboy and Indian stuff anymore. And we don't want to see comic books fall into that gap where it ages out and just becomes dust, especially when there's so much amazing creativity and fun. It's like you have the best of art and writing merged into this cool medium, and then people are like, nah, I don't read comics. Like, you're missing out, and you want to show people this is what you're missing out on. This is the kind of adventure and excitement that you can have by reading this. So.
Yeah, I mean, good will out. That's the way it always seems to work. And comics are getting better than they were before. Like you can find amazing stuff, and amazing stuff for all ages. It's just a matter of like, hey, would you read this? Let me show you this thing.
Totally.
Let me welcome you to the store that doesn't feel like it's going to give you something by walking into the store.
Right.
Like build a coffee shop, build awesome couches, like make it
Community.
welcoming.
It has to be a community, and we have that now.
I wonder if that'll bring it back, or I wonder if it's just like it's going to ebb and flow like this for decades now. The same way, like, remember records were gone, and now I can't go anyplace without somebody tries to sell me an actual fucking record.
Vinyl.
The third record, I'm like, is it a time machine?
Right. I
So
have the
think we'll
iPad.
see.
No, this is a record, son. You're like, what the
this is way
hell?
better. It sounds better. I'm like, now I got to buy a record player again? Yeah. But it feels like comics will occupy that space as well.
Right.
And I think, I don't know that you can reverse engineer it at this point.
There's no way to get a
it's too
comic book
easy.
that sells 1 million books anymore. Like
Star Wars, like they...
I mean, it gets close. It does really
Yeah,
well.
I
But
think
like
that
X-Men,
Marvel Star Wars book
but like
is
the Jim Lee X-Men #1 story, like I bought my mom a house on the first issue.
Right.
It's
Right.
like that's never going to happen.
But you know
again.
what I do like? I like some of the ideas like Jimmy Palmiotti's always talking about, like, hey, we might not do the floppies or pamphlets, whatever they call them. I always hate that. It's like, it's
That
comic
was
book.
Warren Ellis started calling them pamphlets.
Oh, really? I don't like that. I love Warren Ellis, but I don't like that pamphlet thing. I didn't know where that came
Very
from.
dismissive.
Yeah, it is. Like, that's garbage. It's
I
like,
could be wrong, but that's why the first time I heard somebody refer to it as a pamphlet was
No,
in
because
Warren
it's
Ellis
something that you
column.
pick up and throw away.
Yeah, it's chuckable media.
Right.
So it's like, but I think it's like taking those 4 issues and putting them out and like making it quarterly so it becomes something that is a little more investment oriented. Not investment monetarily. I mean, like, you're looking forward to it because you miss something over 2 months and it's a monthly issue. Like, I was like reading this one comic and it was late 3 months. I was like, what the fuck? I was super
Right.
pissed.
It's nameless.
Yeah. It's an amazing Grant Morrison, Chris Burnham book, but it was like the last issue didn't come out for like 6 months. I had forgotten the whole story. I was like, so it's so much better now that they have the trade paperbacks. why not just kind of shift into that, maybe splitting a trade into like.
Warren Ellis has been saying that for over a decade.
It's got to
too. He's
happen.
going like, go to the big
Especially
bucks.
all the issues now. It's like Spider-Man #1. How many of those have come out in the last year? I can't even keep count of like what volume of a #1, of a reboot, of a this,
They
of
are
a that.
just, they're number oneing this industry the same way it used to be holographic covers and chromium covers back in the day.
Lenticular.
And lenticular, the new thing seems to be, it's a #1.
Right,
And it's like,
right.
wait, this is fucking Iron Man. How could this be #1?
Well, and it's also the reason they're doing that is because there's so many new people coming into a comic book store. What should I read? I want to read about Iron Man. Well, here's a #1. It feels like I'm in on the ground floor.
Right.
They don't realize it's going to be canceled on issue 4, and there's going to be 5 other #1s. So that's kind of like where we're at like I'd like to see a change. I'm looking for suggestions. I have my own answers, but I also have tons of questions. So that's kind of what I'm going to rock this next year.
That's awesome.
While we're doing these other series and stuff too.
That's a fucking great doc.
And
man.
get married.
And get married.
There's that as well.
And possibly do this animated series, which I can't.
Shut up.
I know. So she is.
You're a giver, man. Thank God she's here to put a stop to it and shit. Man, oh man, I want to watch that fucking movie. I want to be in it too.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, dude, you replaced like Michael Moore as my favorite documentarian.
Oh, come on. Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
well, he's a big dude with a beard as well. So we all feel that same
And he's
thing.
drinking all that
You
shit.
meet him in a room.
Yeah.
He's in
The only
Meltdown.
way they figure us all out apart is you got the height.
Right?
That's it.
No, hey.
One
thank
good
you.
bomb, you take out 3 large dudes with beards who like to make media. Man, oh man, it's great fucking stuff. If we haven't convinced you yet, all that passion to talk about the comic book store better fucking convince you to throw some beans toward this, man. Death of Superman, Live What Happens. Jon Schnepp, Holly Penn, thank you for coming in and talking.
Thank you for having us.
That's it for Fat Man on Batman this week, kids. Unless you got more, anything else?
No.
Tell them
thank
the
you.
website just one more time.
I'll do it this time. It's www. Now I can't speak. TDOSLWH.com.
There it is. TDOS.
LW.
TDOSL. It's every letter of the title of the film. So what is that? An
Superman
anagram?
What
What's an
happened?
anagram?
Yeah, I think so.
It's,
Like
yeah, it's an
shield,
unpronounceable anagram.
It doesn't roll off the.
It's not like NASA or scuba.
Yeah.
You mean you can't say
Jostle.
TDOSLWH really quick?
I've been trying to,
TDOSLWH.com?
but I bet you, like according to the old Sam Kinison bit, if you say that real fast while eating pussy, that's a total fucking.
I know, right?
TDS, the woman will go
Never
crazy.
going to
Or
know.
the man. They went to a graphic. They're like, get off of them. Look at that poster. Give the shout out for the who did the artwork.
Oh yeah, Nick Runge. He's a protege of Drew Struzan.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I
say it
can
looks so
tell.
fucking
Yeah.
Drew Struzan. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, it's an homage that I wanted to do to Young Frankenstein. So that's where the original idea came from, and then he rocked it.
Dude,
So-
I fucking love a man who puts
pretty are you
himself
on that?
into the
Look
poster.
at you.
I look good.
You look
Yeah.
great.
But I love a man that puts himself into his own movie poster, man.
Hell
You
yeah.
and me. And man after my own heart, you're like, fuck it, I made it. I'm gonna be on the poster too. So,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm doing well, sir. How are
Good.
you?
The Super Bowl happened. I didn't watch it. Somebody won. It was a victor. You'd imagine I'd be into it too. It's like dudes in colorful costumes fighting each other.
It is exactly like a Joel Schumacher did a sporting event.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I should be into it. They got colorful costumes and names, masks. I should be all over this shit, but I was so bored.
They might have skates on.
Sometimes, depending.
That's also called hockey.
No, that's there's a sport, Mark Bernardin.
The sport of kings.
We can't get into that. We don't have enough time to get into
No.
how awesome hockey is on this show. But when the Super Bowl happens, kids, there are a few moments for people like us who don't give a fuck about the pig iron and the grid skin or whatever the fuck it's called. They put up big fat commercials and big fat movie trailers. That's when every movie theater is like, zip. Look at it.
Welcome
Look
to
at
my
it.
summer.
It's on the table. So we got to see some big fat movie dicks or tits, depending on how you look at that sort of thing.
Veins of joy.
Oh, all over the place. Face, neck, and chest. Nothing but trailers. So we're going to go over them, man. That's what we're going to talk about. And we all watched them. We're not going to show you the trailers. Go watch them
I mean,
online.
I'm pretty sure they're sitting right next to this. Like, YouTube gives you everything else you can want from YouTube.
Also, everyone watching this show has seen every one of these trailers already.
Yes.
Nobody's going to be surprised by any of this shit, but we got to do our bit, man. We're going to talk about it. Put our stamp on it. Where do we begin?
Independence Day or Batman?
Let's begin with Independence Day. I'll put my papers in this order.
All right, counselor.
Okay,
I'll
so
allow it.
thank you. Look at that. Look at
You
that.
watch your step.
Thank you, Your Honor. Independence Day Resurgence had a very explodey trailer happen. Much more explodey than the last trailer that we watched. Thoughts?
I feel like this movie is counting on the fact, and as most sequels do, that you have incredibly fond memories of a movie 25 years old.
Clerks
you?
3 shooting this year. Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of nostalgia here, but I just don't know. Like, I was there when Independence Day happened. The War of '96, as we learned in this trailer, is what it's called, I believe. I was there for when it happened, and it was fucking huge.
Massive.
As big as a movie gets in the summertime. But it was a one and doneer. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no sequel. Will Smith went on to Men in Black, I believe.
Yes.
That was his next
To
alien
become
thing
the biggest movie star in the world.
on the planet. So, like, it was this weird localized event of that summer.
Yeah.
Like, it was fucking massive then, and then it was just gone, and nobody did it
Yeah.
anymore.
Or
So
if
it's
you were
weird
going to do a
it now.
sequel, you should have done one like, Bad Boys 1, a year and a half later,
You know,
Bad Boys 2.
Number one, he's absolutely right. And number two, just like Bad Boys 2, if you're going to make a Bad Boys 2, you got to bring everybody back from Bad Boys 1. I don't know how you make this movie without Will Smith.
I love it. The Jeff Goldblum mojo is
Great.
strong.
It's great. And so Bill Pullman
Yeah.
is a wonderful, bearded old president. They're back. Like, whatever he's playing this time.
Independence Day again.
There he is. Look at President Beard.
Can we
former
do an Independence Day again?
ex-president
I want
Beard.
people to remember me.
I got another speech, kids. He's in it, so that he's there, but like
Yeah, they got like a replacement black guy to be Will Smith.
Who is
Like,
it?
I don't even know. Just like handsome black dude.
we all remember that Will Smith was the first one to greet the aliens with a punch in the face and saying, "Welcome to Earth." So if
Yeah.
he's not back, but
Yeah.
I ain't saying like throw the baby out with the bathwater. Of course, I'll fucking go see it.
There's
But it's
explodey things.
a lot of explodey shit. And honestly, you know what? I don't even know if I will necessarily go see this like opening week. This seems like the kind of thing I would catch on like cable or something like that.
Yeah, or like, a Tuesday matinee the week
Maybe,
after.
yeah. Or if somebody's like, "Hey, you want to go see Independence Day? I got free tickets." I'm like, "All right."
Fuck it, for free.
Yeah, why not? I'm like, I'm either gonna stay home, jerk off again, or I can go see Independence Day.
And then jerk off.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can have everything, just like those fucking aliens come to Earth and want it all.
As long as you bookend a day with masturbation, whatever happens in the middle, everybody wins.
Excellent point.
Or at the very least, you win.
Life, kids, the more you know. Mark Bernard with Jules and life
the more
lessons.
you know. Never to be on NBC. Just masturbate twice a day.
I gotta be honest with you. Like here, when they showed us, here's the problem.
Yes.
When we saw Independence Day in 1996, I'm getting on my soapbox. When we saw
Do it.
Independence Day back in the day, and they blew up the White House, and they blew up like the Lincoln Memorial, and they blew up every famous icon on the planet, that was new. Like, it was like, holy shit, is that what that would look like? That's fucked up. Then September 11th happened, and we all knew what real horror looked like. And then all the movies kind of adapted. And so even the Transformers had 9/11-ish images of buildings going down and shit. Like Superman, Man of Steel, rather, I should say. Very explodey of buildings and stuff like that. So it just kind of feels like
It's a bit lost in time.
a little, you know what
know?
I'm saying? Like it makes me rethink whether I want to do Clerks 3 or not. Like if I do Clerks 3, am I Independence Day resurgence where people are like, it's over, you fat fuck, move on. Who do you think you are, Jeff Goldblum? Like, why is it okay? Are they what's gonna happen? Predict the future. And I'm not shitting on this movie, I'm sure it'll be fine, but like there is an element of like, oh, there was a window and you might have passed it. I just don't think there's enough like fucking woo, woo. You know what I'm saying? Like the way they kind of play it, they make you feel like, oh shit, it might be huge. I think it'll do business. Let's be honest. It'll make $100 million, but it is not going to be. I don't think. And I'm no box office prognosticator, but I don't think it could ever repeat the success of that first one.
And it can't repeat the cultural significance of that first one.
Did explain? Give him a single and let him explain.
I mean, the first movie was Will Smith's like asserting his dominance as a movie star, which he would do again and like help old white dudes look cool became his thing. Where Denzel went the other way, making young white dudes look cool.
Oh my God, you're absolutely right. I
But it
thought
was
about
it's like, all right, Tommy Lee Jones, let's make you a comedian because I have so much charisma that'll just spill over and wash in your face.
that. Could you imagine? Although he was funny, as Gerard in The Fugitive.
Yeah,
He had some
funny-ish.
Funny-ish.
But like you can't. The special effects were cutting edge at the time, and at this point, we've seen everything that we're ever going to see. We saw a Star Killer base.
Yeah.
Like what? How do you keep them home on the farm once they've seen a Star Killer base?
We've seen a lot of shit blow up, kids. Yeah, in fact, in Force Awakens, Starkiller Base blew up 9 planets at once, making it real hard to blow up anything in a movie ever again and have people go like, "Well, that's impressive."
Yeah. Although
it was like a pool shot in that movie. They were like, "Ping, ping, ping, ping."
space destructo billiards. But like Roland Emmerich, like that's his thing. What he does is blow shit up real good.
Yeah.
Did you know that he made a Stonewall movie
He did.
that nobody saw?
Yeah.
Because that is not what you want out of Roland Emmerich.
Yeah,
Unless he's
it had other
blowing you.
problems too. Stonewall, for those that don't remember,
Not up on your
for those
gay
that
New York
don't know
history.
gay history, Stonewall is very important. A club in New York is a bar in New York where the gay rights movement began in earnest with a bunch of people taking a stand and saying no. Bunch of transgender people, a bunch of people of every race and color, predominantly not white folks.
Correct.
Somehow the movie became about how a young gay white man stands up for everybody else.
Yeah, it's like, find me the one white guy in Greenwich Village in the 60s. And
It's like essentially telling like the Malcolm X story, but going like, let's focus on his white friend.
Right.
It was just the weirdest kind of way to.
which Hollywood did quite a bit.
That's true.
You know.
So he was actually right in the pocket.
I mean,
for historical accuracy.
Do you remember Cry Freedom?
Yes.
That movie about Denzel Washington and Steve Biko, one of the early apartheid, anti-apartheid rebels. It's about Kevin Kline trying to get out of South Africa. It's like, but what about the black guy who's doing the history?
He seems rather interesting.
No.
Like, hey, white priest. That's what puts asses in seats at the box office, kids. Yeah, it has been that way for quite some time.
Yeah.
So anymore.
So yes, I am not sure exactly how many things Roland Emmerich is going to explode in Independence Day Resurgence. I'm banking on quite a bit.
I'm going to say a lot more than he did in Stonewall.
You know?
More shit's going to blow up in Independence Day Resurgence than did in Stonewall.
All right.
So if you sat at Stonewall and you're like, fucking Roland Emmerich, you sell out, why won't shit explode? He's back.
This is your one.
Yeah, you're going to get it.
Now you win.
By the way, you could probably check out Stonewall on home video.
I'm sure.
I think
streaming at some point somewhere.
Check it out.
Yeah, if you really want to.
Yeah, and you know what? Support. Motherfucker is like, I'm tired of blowing shit up. I want to tell a story that's important to me. And he went out there and told them, people like, fuck you, blow shit up. Like, all right. So he went right back to work, man. I feel for him.
You're not good.
Dude, I've heard that quite a bit. That ain't reserved just for Roland Emmerich, man. All right. Next up, let's talk about another trailer they had. I didn't see this one. I didn't watch the Super Bowl, so I didn't watch any of them on the Super Bowl, but I watched a lot of them as soon as I watched Google News, and as soon as something happened, they were like, this trailer's up, so I watched it. But I did not see the new Jungle Book trailer. Did you?
I did see the new trailer.
How was it?
It's actionier. There's
more so? Was there any singing yet? Did you see any animals sing? Did you hear Bill Murray yet?
You hear Bill Murray speak. You don't hear him sing.
Okay.
He just whistles at the end of that first trailer. He whistles Bare Necessities, but this time he actually talks.
Look at that shot. Did you see that shot? Go back to that shot of him with King Louie. Oh my God, that's so fucking, look how impressive and massive that orang is.
They're selling the scale on this movie for sure.
This movie was shot locally, right? In on a green screen?
Yeah.
Like everything across the street or some such shit. Like everything's made up. It's a fucking living
Everything's
cartoon.
on the Disney lot.
Jungle Book, people like the live action Jungle Book. This one is as cartoony as the other. It just looks better, but everything is unreal except for the boy, right? The boy's real and everything else is.
Yeah, pretty much. In a motion capture volume.
Is that what they're calling it? They can't call it a motion picture anymore?
No, it's motion capture. The volume is the stage that they shoot it in.
I see.
That's a fancy.
Well, the volume's turned up to 11.
To 11
on this movie.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
They did this cool thing on the trailer.
Look at that. See that picture? That water
all fake.
Isn't real.
Or maybe the water's real, but it's just like a green screen tub.
Everything is fucking manufactured. Like, that's crazy. But I'm with this, and here's why. I'll never doubt this filmmaker in my life. Jon Favreau made, honestly, and I'm not even like the biggest Favreau flag waver. I like him. But Iron Man is a perfect film. Like, I've watched that movie to death, dude. I watched it stone, fucking not stone. Mostly stone, I'll be honest with you. But I watched it when I wanted to watch it, when I've just been bored. You could start that movie anywhere. It is perfection. Like Empire Strikes Back, it is an utterly watchable film from beginning to last. They should have given that dude a Star Wars movie. It's not too late. He's working at Disney. He'll probably get, excuse me, a Star Wars movie. But I would have given him like the next one. Yeah, not to say anything against Ryan. Jeez, you can't fucking say anything without getting in trouble. But I would have, Iron Man is such a fucking Star Warsian level good movie. I would have fucking tapped him. But so I'll go see this, even though I'm like, really, man? Like, come on. All anyone ever complains about is sequel and remakes. And this is about as sequel-y remake as it gets. Holy shit. Totally. But I trust that filmmaker. Like, number one, he got Bill Murray to play Baloo. That's pretty genius. But number two, fucking, he always tries to deliver, man. He's a filmmaker. Like, true director at heart. Good storyteller. Really good storyteller, man. Iron Man is so fucking impressive, dude. I've been analyzing that movie for years. And I'm like, there's no seam. You can't pull at anything and watch it unravel. And you got to think about it. That's important Because we live in the age of the Marvel movie, and that begins the age of the Marvel movie. Not your Hulk or anything like that, or fucking Blade or X-Men or Spider-Man. The age of the true Marvel film as we know it, Marvel movie as we know it, begins on the fucking very strong back and shoulders of Iron Man. Like that guy's fucking talented.
And we talked about like the.
I know nobody's
ballsy-
fighting me. I'm getting
No,
like,
no.
fuck you, he's good. Everyone's
No,
like,
no,
we
the
know.
movie's great,
They're
yeah.
like, dude, we know he's good. We know you're bad, but he is. He's really good. So I'm not the biggest like fan of like, come on, man, fucking like. I understand it's a business. We got to make money and shit, but like, really, the Jungle Book again? But give it to this dude, and then I'm like, all right, that's how you get my
Fine.
money. You're
You
giving it to
win.
someone interested. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it had been any random dick presents the Jungle Book, I don't know that I'd be going. But because it's Favreau, fuck you, Disney. You got my money.
I would like to see Random Dick Presents.
Random Dick presents Jungle Book.
A random dick picture.
I'm buying a ticket for that movie now. What did you think of this trailer?
I think
Besides actiony,
here's the thing that I kind of loved about it, and it's purely technical. It's purely
give him a
good
goddamn
trick.
single. He's talking.
The trailer comes on your TV letterbox, right? Every now and again, one of the beasts would burst through the letterbox. So you'd see like the top of like Bagheera's head over the letterbox thing, and under like the illusion of 3D they built into a 2D trailer.
That's kind of interesting.
You know, and so it does this very subtle thing where you're just a little bit more invested.
The point is, you haven't seen that before.
No.
That's the first time you've ever seen somebody do that.
Yeah.
Caught your attention. So that money on the Super Bowl, well spent.
Totally. I mean,
And you figure they were like, we could just put up footage, or we can put
this
Bagheera's
there.
head through the
yeah,
thing.
just
and
a
fucking-
little bit of a thing to make you feel like this movie's jumping out at you.
Smart, man.
Yeah, they're
now,
exactly
who
right.
makes that decision? Some people be like the filmmaker. That's a marketer.
Yep.
That's
That is-
a
that is
marketing.
Disney marketing.
You ain't kidding. Or some team that Disney hires. I don't know if they do everything in house, but
Yeah.
some marketer somewhere is the brainchild behind that. Just like those Suicide Squad trailers.
Mm-hmm.
I met the marketing guy. Like he's brilliant, dude. Like it's so weird because you're like, how about we just give him a bunch of fucking money, let him make a movie because he's so fucking smart. And he's got impeccable taste. But those two trailers for the Suicide Squad, they're works of art in and of themselves. Yeah. And that's a dude that's just like, you know, he's part of the process. Of course, he's fucking higher up, muckety muck up the studio. But he's not making that film. David Ayer is. But this guy is like, I bet you I can make a short film out of that film that makes everybody excited. And that's all it is at this point. It ain't just selling the movie. It's like this wonderful art form where you get to make a short film out of that material.
Yeah, especially because they don't have the entire film yet to work with. It's like
yeah, they're still making it.
half of this shit is not in post. The effects are not done yet. Here are the 25 shots I've got to work with, and I got to make this sing with almost nothing.
How'd they do with the Jungle Book trailer? Same thing? Because they done? When is that coming out? Summer?
It's coming out like May, I want to say.
That
May or
movie's
June.
going to print fucking money. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's like, you know, some people be like, what are you fighting it for? I ain't fighting it, but it's just like in a world where people are like, we want new things. This is not new.
No,
But it is printing money.
totally.
It's giving people what they want, and people don't even know they want this until they saw fucking footage of Bill Murray the bear fucking talking. People are like, oh my God, fuck you, take it all.
Yeah, for like every grandparent who's like, they don't make movies I can take my grandkids to. Hey, look, it's the movie you loved when you also were 11, with the songs you loved when you were 11.
Disney on fire right now, dude.
They're killing it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, used to be when I was a kid, they had like, you know, fucking the Shaggy DA. And shit, one of our dragons is missing.
The
One of our
Black Cauldron.
dinosaurs is missing. Now they're just like, fuck you, Civil War. Fuck you, Jungle Book. Let's talk about Civil War, man.
Yes.
Civil War, Captain America Civil War trailer was dropped on the Super Bowl. How could you not? You have two teams facing each other. This is a great way to fucking showcase
it was
that
a
movie.
short trailer, though. It was only like a 30-second spot.
Didn't matter, dude.
No,
They
no.
gave us the lineup. That's the important thing, man. All right, so there's fucking what's his fuck, Winter Soldier. I don't know what that fucking thing is. That's the new Iron Man suit. Comes out his watch. Okay, so hold on this. Here's our lineup. They finally revealed which teams are.
We're missing Falcon off to the left.
Falcon's off to the left. Ant-Man's next to him. Hawkeye, Cap, Scarlet Witch, and
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. And now they're fighting for what? We should work for the government or fuck the
They're
government?
fighting to not register. They're fighting to keep their secret identity.
Look at our fancy new fucking picture-in-picture graphics. Look at this. We can look at the picture and be in the picture as well. Isn't it amazing?
Technology.
All right, so wait, they're the good guys? They're all good guys.
They're all
right?
good
This is
guys,
difficult.
but Cap was anti-registration and Iron Man was pro-registration.
And so Iron Man after Sokovia is just like, we fucked up.
Right. We have to be accountable for our actions, and they should know who we are so we can pay for our.
And Captain America, who everybody knows who he is like, no, we should be able to keep our secret identities.
Yes, like
Makes no sense.
Well, I think he was just of the we're soldiers in a war. You don't need to know who the soldiers are. You just need to know they're fighting the war. And if protecting yourself and protecting the people you love is integral to you fighting this war, that should be a thing you get to keep to yourself.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well defended. All right, let's see the other lineup. There we go. Yeah! Who gives a fuck what you just said? There's Black Panther, man! That's amazing, dude.
Standing tall.
Oh, come on. So on the other side, you got Iron Man, Iron Patriot, or whatever they call him, War Machine, Black Widow, Vision. Why is he teaming up with fucking... Hey, where's Thor? He's not in this.
And Hulk is not in this either.
That's right, because you got those two fuckers. Battle's over. Whoever team they're on...
Or they just punch each other for
That's
a while.
it. Fucking boom, 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 back and forth. All right, let's break this down, dude. I know there's a picture on the internet where somebody like, look at Iron Man's iron fucking shoulder. You see that one reflection of a light? Somebody online took it. If you go deep into his shoulder, you see the reflection of Spider-Man with a camera snapping a picture.
Sweet fucking, really, internet guys?
Internet tried to fool us all and shit. But in any event, they did raise a good point, which is like, holy fuck, this ain't all the heroes because Spider-Man's still missing. And there could be some more as well, for all we know.
There could be.
This is that one fight scene in the movie, man, where they're at the airport or some shit. But there he is, dude, fucking king of Wakanda.
And I love that everybody gets a redhead.
Oh my god, Black Widow. Oh my god, there's only one girl per each team?
Yeah, pretty much. We only have 2 ladies in the Marvel Universe, and everybody gets one.
Seem to remember a lot more than that.
Yeah, you think?
They'll get to him eventually.
Possibly.
All right, but fucking, I ain't bitching because that looks amazing.
Totally
If every one of those characters punches every one of those other characters in the face, you have my money. That's all I'm looking for. Line them up, back, credits.
Nice.
That's all it needs to be. That looks fantastic. So that trailer was short. We've seen a lot of that stuff before, but those 2 lineup shots,
Now we know.
pretty, the mo juice, if you will.
Whose side are you on? I'm on the side of justice.
You and me both. I'm on the Black Panther side because fuck, God.
I mean, how can you not be?
He looks amazing, dude. And it's just like, I can't, again, we say it a lot on the show, can't believe we live in a world where he's in a movie.
Yeah.
Like, not just like, oh, we added him to the Netflix show. He's in a fucking movie.
Right. And he's getting his own fucking movie.
Wakanda is a word that your grandma's going to know. Wakanda, that's where the Black Panther comes from. Tiger, that's what she'll say.
What kind of pants are you wearing today, bitch? Pull those pants up.
Is that what a grandma says?
Sometimes. My grandma did.
Lord, your grandmother never said anything like that. You sound like Bill Cosby's grandma there for a second. Telling people to pull their pants up.
What kind of bathing suit is that? Showing too much skin.
Is that your grandmother? Is that who you're
That is
doing?
again my grandmother, yeah.
Judgy.
A little bit.
A little, right?
When you get to your 80s, you get to be judgy.
You think it will be that way?
I mean, you lose bowel control, but you get judgment.
That's all right. You lose that, and you gain power to criticize.
That's the trade-off.
Maybe the idea is we learn from that, and we don't be that at 80.
That is
I'm
ideally.
gonna try to be this guy, the guy that's like, oh my God, Black Panther's in a movie. You think at 80, I'll be like, I don't care. I
What
just
is
don't
this?
want to die. Like that'll be the most excitement. Like what, Panther? I don't give a shit. This is gonna keep me alive one more day. Speaking of which, we're young, vital men right now in our middle age.
Very,
Fuck, we're
very
old.
kind of you say.
Yeah, fuck, we're closer to old than
Rocking the Reed Richards. We're young, vital men.
we're trying to be young. Let's look at young things while we're talking about trailers. Captain America, a little spin-off. Did you see the Coke commercial?
Yes, I did.
Coke commercial with Ant-Man and Hulk. Was that Paul Rudd?
I think it was.
I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah.
They never showed his face.
Yeah. It was his voice, though.
Was it?
Are you telling me you know a thing that I don't know?
I'm asking. I watched that commercial and I was like, well, because I'm sitting there going like, you know, they didn't get a movie star. No movie star would ever sign on to do something as gross as a commercial during the fucking Super Bowl, I says to myself. So I said, is that Paul Rudd? I don't know. And is it his voice? It'd be interesting to find out.
Do you think that Paul Rudd has a brother who doubles for his voice?
Like Tom Hanks?
Like Tom
Has
Hanks?
Jim Hanks?
Uh-huh.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, like Phil Rudd, he's just like, Paul's busy today. I'm Phil. I'll be standing in. Yo, Hulk, give me a Coke over there. They're like, that don't sound like fucking Ant-Man at all. He's like, when you get Phil, you get Phil.
And when you get Phil, you get Andrew Dice Clay.
Phil Rudd. Phil Rudd, copyright. Kevin Margaret Arden, because we're going to go audition for SNL with that character. Okay. Another X-Men project, my friend, or another Marvel project, kind of course, is the X-Men. Is the X-Men universe. First off, I find it very surprising they didn't use the Super Bowl to be like Deadpool. I know they're just sitting there going like, this movie's gonna make so much money anyway. Go fuck yourselves. It looks like it's tracking to make 70 to 80 million,
which is
opening weekend for a movie that your mother, she don't know who Deadpool is. No. She's about to,
or is never gonna go and doesn't have to go.
This don't matter, man. This movie's gonna make a lot of fucking money. Okay, what are we looking at here?
We are looking at Psylocke
Psylocke, son! What? Psylocke, son! That, of course, is Olivia Munn, who used to host, what was it?
Attack of the Show.
Attack of the Show.
Yeah.
She interviewed me at one point.
Back in the old G-Force.
Now she's fucking Psylocke. And I sat across from her. Never once was I like, you look like Psylocke. But fuck if she don't look like Psylocke.
She's killing it.
All you gotta do is put the outfit on and have the body, of course. And have those fucking ching laser swords.
Yes.
She was my favorite character in the X-Men Sega Genesis game. I loved being Psylocke. So I'm happy to see this character come to life. We saw yet another look at the X-Men Apocalypse trailer. Mark, are you excited about this one?
I'm excited, and I will be candid. My wife didn't even know there was another one coming because I try and insulate her from these things.
Yeah, you're like, I like to talk about adult things.
I can't let this much nerd just seep out in the house, otherwise things will go badly quickly.
You get it to me.
Yes.
I get all, she's like, you give him all the best parts of you, and all I get is the love and respect. And sex. Anyway.
And she was like, ooh, another movie? Who's that? I like this. Let's go. 30 seconds she was in.
The fuck? Really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Fox. Well done.
Yes, you got my wife to go.
Did she see the Independence Day trailer?
She's in the bag for that.
Really?
She is, and
your Fox is for Fox.
Pretty much. She's a huge fan of that first movie.
Really?
And so the minute that first trailer came, and it just had the Bill Pullman, not Jeff
Jeff Pullman. They combined both Jeff Goldblum and Bill Pullman into one amazing actor.
Voltro Pullman. I'll form the head.
Actors assemble. And they made really bold choices.
But she just loves that speech. That is one of her favorite speeches ever. Is the Today we celebrate our Independence Day.
I always thought that he should have stopped at Independence. I know it's the title. But grammatically speaking, today we celebrate our independence. That's a way to end.
Right. Or you crop our
independence. Yeah. You know, it's just kind of weird. Because who calls it Independence Day?
Not me.
Really, if you're giving that speech, you're fired up. You're like, today's our fucking 4th of July. Woo! And shit
Blow
like
shit
that.
up.
I wouldn't even said that.
Keg stands.
Well, today we punch all the aliens in the face and say, welcome to Earth. That's what he said, right? And Will comes up, he's like, I did.
Yeah, welcome to Earth Day.
Welcome to Earth Day. What did you think of X-Men Apocalypse? I know your lady's in the bag now, but
she's in the bag. You know, it's still, they're not showing us very much of it. You know, they're being very.
It seems like the effects aren't done. That's all.
Yeah,
like it doesn't seem like they're hiding anything. They're just like, whoa.
It's still a little bit early, and they're still like finishing stuff up. So they're not showing us that much. But I mean, fucking yeah,
Dude, we're seeing Psylocke. There's Boy Cyclops.
And I want to see
all the size.
You know, Baby Storm.
Yes.
Baby
Storm.
Gray,
Look, Archangel, Angel and Archangel, Baby Nightcrawler, Jean Grey, as you said, man, and it's the girl from Game of Thrones.
Yes,
Sansa Stark, there she is. Look at her. She's just like, oh fuck, man. I hope I fare better in this world than I did in the other one. Last time you saw me, I was jumping off a building with a dickless Theon. Now I'm hanging out with fucking the X-Men.
What's a phoenix?
Boy, oh boy, man. And there he is, of course, Michael Jobs Fassbender, returning as Magneto. Now, he's played Magneto maybe about as many times as Ian McKellen at this point, you think?
McKellen.
Somebody do the math.
McKellen was in 4 of them.
And he's what? Fassbender's 3?
3, yeah.
Think he's trying to beat him?
I mean,
he'll beat him.
He's got time on his side.
You know, good point.
I'm
McKellen's sitting there somewhere go, fuck you, Mark Bernardin. I am a Magneto.
You son of a bitch. My name is Gandalf.
Let me say, I met Ian McKellen once in a fucking lobby of a hotel at Cannes. One thing I can assure you, Ian McKellen does not waste his time watching shit like this. Ian McKellen lives, dude, like to the fucking fullest. You ever read any Ian McKellen stories?
No. Tell me some Ian McKellen stories.
Just go look up Ian McKellen online.
He's got a blog.
Look up Ian McKellen Quiet Life. You ain't gonna find anything.
No.
Ian McKellen parties, dude. Like, I mean, I know that's an old expression, but he parties hardy, dude.
Would you like to go wilding, dear boy?
You ain't kidding, dude. Fucking, he ain't the wizard for nothing. I was at this hotel in Cannes, man. I was downstairs in the lobby. I was there for Clerks 2, and X3 was there. So I'm down in the lobby because that's where the best Wi-Fi was and stuff early in the morning trying to get online. He comes in and it's like 6 a.m. and he was wearing a robe and like nothing else, like bare ankles and shit. And he's like, I've locked myself out of my room. And the person behind the counter was like, pourquoi? Because they were in France and stuff. And then he fucking busted it in French. He's that classy. And then he turned around and I was sitting, so I was typing and I heard the voice and I was like, is that the dude from App Pupil? That's what I said. That's where I went. And can you imagine? And he fucking turned around at one point and he was just waiting for the dude and he went like, and then, you know, like a smile as you would and shit like that.
Good day, sir.
But the impression that I got was like, we were all out fucking partying, bitch, and I lost my keys. Like, he wasn't hammered, but that dude lives, bro.
Right. It's like, I didn't come out of my room now.
Yeah.
This is me coming back to my room after the night.
Bingo.
In a robe.
And he looked at me like, what are you? You're on the internet? God bless.
Yeah, dear boy.
I'm going to come 1,000 times in an hour. Through the power of Hobbit magic. I don't see those movies that much. Anyway, X-Men Apocalypse, dude. The one shot in that trailer, though, that I do like is when he pushes the one dude down and he gets big. It's kind of cool.
I know. Fuck it, dude. It's an X-Men movie.
Dude,
it's a Brian Singer.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I don't care who directs it. I'm there for the X-Men. I support all these. Yeah, there's that shot. Look at that right there. Yeah, man, I'm on board, man. I'm way on board. I'm way more on board for the newest X-Men movie that's coming this fucking weekend, man. Deadpool. Bling. Deadpool. We'll all be seeing it soon. We'll all be able to talk about it. I've heard from people who've seen it. Amazing things.
Excellent.
We predicted excellence on this show.
We did.
And this kid, Tim Miller, look at that. Come on. Come on.
This kid, Tim Miller.
This kid, Tim
50
Miller.
Years old.
50 years old. The world is his oyster, this boy. This boy director has cracked the code of R-rated comic book movies. Somewhere Zack Snyder's like, he cracked the code? What about 300? This is fun. This ain't like a sad, scary movie. That says Sparta, where people are yelling at each other and dudes are hot and fucking oiled up. This is one of them fun movies where people are like, yuck, 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 and then stabbing a motherfucker in the throat.
Did you not find oily dudes punching each other in the face with swords not fun?
That's not my thing.
No?
Not a sword and sandal kind of guy. Like, I think it's a masterful film. It's incredibly well made, and I think he's a great filmmaker. But, like, I saw that movie once, and I never need to see it again. And not like, boy, it disappointed me. I'm like, well, yeah, I get it.
You're done?
It's beautiful to look at, but, like, some works of art, you appreciate and you move on. Some shit you do to death because you're like, that's my jam. 300, not quite my jam. I would watch, and, you know, some people, now I'm going to lose all my fucking credibility on the internet when I say this. I would watch Man of Steel again before I'd watch 300 again. I have watched Man of Steel more times than I would ever watch 300. But I probably watched Dawn of the Dead most of all the Snyder films.
Okay.
Masterful.
You win there.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, think about the level of difficulty going into that job in particular. Like, you're not doing Night of the Living Dead. You're doing the one everybody fucking knows and loves.
Yep.
Dawn of the Dead. And they found a way to do it. Crack the code. That movie is fantastic. Utterly watchable. You could put it side by side with Romero's original. Two completely different beasts, man, but wholly fucking valid in both of their own presentations. Love them both. That's why that dude is fucking successful, man.
And also written by James Gunn.
Was it really?
Yeah.
God, what a pedigree on this fucking movie. Did he? That's right. He wrote like Scooby, and then he wrote that. It's a good script.
And that movie is so fucking smart.
This Gunn kid, he's going places too.
Yeah, I know.
I predict big things for James
somebody's going to give him a movie.
You know what I'm saying? All right, man. So that's everything on this page. Let's move to this page.
All right.
Let's do the Turtles next. Hey.
Should we?
You gotta.
I mean, if you
know
say
what?
so.
Not for nothing, dude. Bebop, Rocksteady, and Krang, they're trying.
I mean,
Casey Jones, they're trying. They're throwing everything in but the kitchen sink. They seem to have learned from the previous sins, and they're like, we're going to give you everything you could possibly want in a turtle movie.
Because we're never making a third one, so here's everything.
You think that's what it is?
It's got, I mean, no, you know what? This
Do you think
movie's going
there's
to make
one
fucking
scene
money.
where they're like, go ninja, go. That's where they put everything in.
If there's not, I'm going to be upset.
I know at this point.
They like drag Vanilla Ice out of retirement. Come on, Van Winkle, sing.
I thought he was playing Krang. I don't even, I'm not a Turtles guy, but like I'm on board, dude, because they're smart enough to bring in the classic characters. Like that makes me interested.
You are far more on board than I am.
I don't think I'll go see it in the movie theater. Don't get me wrong.
Because I saw that first movie in the theater.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, give him a single. I don't mean the fucking single of Krang. I mean, give Mark a goddamn
Look into
single.
my eye.
There you go. Tell him.
Don't. I mean.
Why did you go?
Because my son wanted to see it.
That's right. You got kids.
I got a kid of that age, and I'm like, hey, yeah, fuck it. We'll go to the movies. We'll ride our bikes in the movie theater. It'll be great.
Did you ride your bike?
Yeah.
It's adorable.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
I mean, we live.
It's like something out of the Peanuts.
We live near Northridge, which is where they shot E.T. So we can ride through these streets that kind of feel like we're fucking Elliot riding through. Like, we're having a chase!
Oh my God, a bunch of adults stop you and point walkie-talkies at you.
Like chasing us with vans and shit. It's a little weird.
Na, 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 na.
But yes,
That's sweet. All right, so
Were
wait.
adorable. So I did not like the first one. I do not expect
Way to
like the
take a
second
sweet
one.
story. Like, me and my boy had adventures on bikes like E.T. and Elliot. I'm like, what'd you think of
I'm going to
Ninja
piss
Turtles?
on this film right
Like,
now.
fuck this movie. Fuck it in its ass. Me and my boy bike rode to see it and it sucked. Did he like it?
Yeah, because he was like 8.
All right, well, that's what it's made for.
You're
bitch.
supposed to like shit at 8.
They're not trying to get you. As a movie goer, you were like, oh
Yeah.
no.
As a cineast, which I am, I felt it fell a little short of the mark.
Really?
Whatever fucking mark they set for themselves.
Yeah, what bar are they fucking working at that they didn't hit for you?
Little yellow bus bar, like right here.
I'm gonna give you. I'll be honest with you, man. The inclusion of Krang, Bebop, and Rocksteady has put this movie on my radar.
Okay,
Enough that I'm like, looking at more I didn't even look at the trailers for that first one,
good for you.
but this one I'm like, let's see. Look, there he is, man.
Yeah, brown eye.
That's pink eye if I've ever seen one. Look at that, my lord. It's like somebody trapped inside a vagina, looking out at you.
Very Cronenbergian.
Could you imagine fucking David Cronenberg?
If he did a fucking Turtles movie,
give him the
oh,
third one.
shit.
Look, he did The Fly. It's not like
Yes.
he can't make a mainstream entertainment.
oh fuck.
That's how you get our dollar.
Yeah,
So like, we don't want you.
Videodrome of Turtles movies.
We want the children. Batman v Superman, last movie that made an appearance. Well, that's not true. Let's save that for the end.
All right.
Jason Bourne, dude.
Fuck yes.
Yeah, it looks good, right?
I will watch him punch
Just a movie
people
where-
for like and just run again.
Matt Damon punching people and running away.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I need.
And just telling people he knows who he is.
Yeah. You
I know
who
who
I
I
am.
am.
Pow, and he runs away. I'm like,
My name is Jason Bourne. Boom.
They're not even trying anymore with the title. Now they're just calling him Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
Look at him, dude. Look how tough he looks. Goodwill Hunting, hunting your fucking ass and blowing your fucking face off. I remember who I am. He says that or something like that.
I am the man who knocks.
Yeah, he's like, I think. They're like, you watched Breaking Bad, you dick. And he's like, oh, then I don't know who I am.
Sorry, I was just improving on that one. Let's do
And
it
credits. Look at this, man. Apparently a scene takes place in Batman Begins.
again.
That's what it looks like.
or on the airfield
How
and
fucking
Raiders.
huge that dude is, dude. He's got the gun show in town.
He really does.
The Martian, like he played a math kid in The Martian. In this movie, he's like,
But he was still a meth kid with guns.
I'm Bane. He's playing Bane in this movie. He's so fucking built.
I know
all right,
who
I'm
I
on
am.
board. He left the franchise when? 9 years ago?
2009, I want to say was the
So
last
close
one.
to 9 years ago.
Yeah.
When by the time he
By
shot
the
it,
time this
came out
comes out.
2009. So
Yeah.
almost a decade later, the man has returned with Paul Greengrass, the director.
Yep.
If you like Bourne, he looks born again. There, I said it.
Hey,
I don't know why they didn't use that title.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? So obvious, I guess.
Jason Bourne is born again.
Born again. Just call it born again. I guess the again would infer like born again, but who ain't gonna go? It's the Martian punching people in the face.
Fucking born again.
You could market it as Martian 2. He's back on Earth and he's mad. And he's punching fuckers in the face. I was in space. I had to use my own pee and poo. That was
I'm
the
gonna
part
science the shit out of your head.
Good pull. All right, man. Last trailer that's not Batman v Superman related.
Yes.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Cannot fucking wait.
Yeah, right. Come on, dude. John Goodman. I love John Goodman. This trailer, throw up an image of some sort. Show them what it looks like.
Ooh.
It is, we ain't got none? Fuck it. I'll
All right.
describe it for you.
Please.
Imagine, no. It all looks like it takes place in like a missile, like
A bunker. Yeah.
a bunker, like a nuclear shelter,
Mhm.
nuclear fallout shelter, which is so smart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how cheap is that? Then you save your effects for like fucking 5 scenes and you're out.
And also, that's the way you shoot a movie and nobody knows you're shooting a movie. If everything is in like one secure location, nobody's walking in and out of any place. There's no like
And
airless
everyone's
shots
like,
in-
where'd this movie come from? That's where this movie came from.
Yeah.
And you're fucking like, JJ's the master of sleight of hand. You're looking at fucking Force Awakens. They're over there quietly making 10 Cloverfield Lane. He's not the director, but he's the producer. It's
yeah.
a bad robot movie. And obviously, as we hear at the end of this spot, something
Monsters.
sounds like fucking monsters, man.
Fuck yes.
Can't wait. And this one's like a freebie. I know we have to pay to see it, but like we weren't expecting this. It's kind of like bonus.
I know. I do wish that at some point somebody manages to crack I shot a movie, and you know what? Tomorrow you can go see it. Like literally, they do the distribution, they do the in theaters, they figure out a way to be like Beyonce with an album with a movie.
I'd like to do that.
I mean, I don't know how you.
I make
crack
movies
nut.
that go theaters fast, leave the theaters fast. I don't know if I get to the theaters as fast as all that, but yeah, that'd be amazing.
Run, movie, run.
I mean, you could do that. People do it online and shit, but to do with a major motion picture,
Yeah.
like we finished this shit Friday.
Like-
watch it Friday next.
Seriously, in 3,000 screens.
Oh my god, how ballsy that would
Can
be.
you imagine? No promotion, no advertising. We just drop in a movie.
Smarketing right here.
Market.
Hire Marc Bernardin.
Yes, to somehow fuck with your movie and not tell anybody it's coming out.
Not the greatest marketing, but interesting.
Why did
smarketing.
this make $8 this weekend? Well, nobody knew, boss.
The show is titled Fat Man on Batman, so we should mention that
It
on
is.
Gotham, there's a new trailer for Gotham, ladies and gentlemen, that features both Hugo Strange and Mr. Freeze. Dr. Freeze, what a dick I am. Mr. Freeze,
I
man.
buy that he's a doctor, though. I mean,
He is, though. He's Dr. Victor Von Freeze.
Yeah, so he could be Dr. Freeze. Why not give that dude a promotion?
I don't even think he's Victor Von. I think I threw the Von in. I'm confusing it with Victor Von Doom. He's Dr. Victor Freeze.
Yeah.
But he is a doctor.
Yeah.
All right, so I was okay.
It should be Dr. Freeze.
It should be Dr. Freeze.
Yeah. I mean, if
Mr.
Dr.
They call
Detroit
me
can be
Mr.
Dr.
Freeze, I
Detroit,
suppose.
like, I don't think that motherfucker.
And Dr. Detroit had no medical license.
He had no post-grad work.
No. He was
So,
like, hello, man. And he had the metal claw and shit. Oh, I thought you were going to throw up a picture of Dr. Detroit. I was like, that is a brilliant fucking pull.
nice job,
There you
control
go,
room.
man. That, of course, is what's
B.D.
the
Wong.
actor's name? B.D. Wong, man, from Jurassic Park, the guy without whom there is no Jurassic Park movies because he's the guy
Yes.
that made the eggs and shit.
And he's in Jurassic World.
And he's in Jurassic World. He's blowing up
back.
all over the place. And now he's
Good for
playing
him.
Dr. Hugo Strange in Gotham. So
Is
check
that
out
enough
Gotham.
to get you to watch Gotham?
yeah, I'll watch it when they're done with this season. Yeah.
Yeah.
They put a lot of fucking. It seems that they did this season what they should have done last season, which is just like, boom, here's
Yeah.
a bunch of villains. Never mind ones you didn't hear of, like Fish Mooney. Here's a bunch of villains you've heard of and stuff.
Yeah, we have the best rogues gallery in comics. Let's do them.
Feels like they just realized it this season. Hopefully, it's not too little, too late. Okay, finally, folks, the Super Bowl meant we got to see a bizarre little piece of marketing. Most people chose to show new footage from a movie or old footage with a new shot
Or actual trailers.
full-blown trailer. Batman v Superman took this different approach in partnership with Turkish Airlines.
Because sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because we've all flown them.
Yeah.
They're like the Southwest of the Midwest. Turkish Airlines. Turkish Airlines, I guess, is a partner on the movie. There you see one of the fine Turkish airline flights.
That's a jet.
That is a jet flying over a fictional city, I believe. There are two spots that they ran, one for Visit Metropolis and one for Visit Gotham. And in the Metropolis one, Lex Luthor.
Right.
So they showed Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah, there's shots of the Daily Planet building. They showed Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor in character
Flying in a jet.
in a commercial spot, though,
Yeah.
for the Super Bowl.
Look.
There he is.
With a
Turkish
stress ball.
Airlines. He's on the plane.
Stewardess.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Luthor.
Yeah, shout out to Otis this time around.
Otis is sexy.
Very interesting approach.
Sure.
But if you're going to do Metropolis, you have to do Gotham.
True. And who
So
you get for
that
Gotham?
led to this. Do we have any images of this?
Ooh.
So they say we announce, an opening of flights to Gotham City.
Like, for the first time.
Yeah, nobody's ever flown there before.
All the fires are out now.
First view of Ace Chemicals, dude, which apparently is in the fucking middle of the city. You know
that's
what
where
I'm
you
saying?
put it.
Is that really a place for a chemical plant?
Probably not.
And looky. Look
Hey.
who's shilling for Turkish Airlines. It's Bruce Wayne, CEO of Wayne Enterprises.
Hello.
As one of our first looks outside of a trailer, Ben Affleck playing the inimitable Bruce Wayne, CEO of Wayne Enterprises. There's another shot. That almost looks like that one poster for The Dark Knight Returns.
Totally. Or like
And there's a
Fight
big
Club.
old, and they say in the spot, they're like, if you're lucky, you might see a local celebrity. And they put up the bat signal and stuff. So, it's weird. And then they end with him on a Turkish Airlines flight. That's
That's the look I want out of my Bruce Wayne.
you think so?
No.
That one was, look, like they're a partner and they're spending about, who spent the money on those Super Bowl ads?
Turkish Airlines.
Exactly. That's why you do something like that. Warner Brothers didn't have to put out $5 million, whatever the fuck it cost this year. Turkish Airlines did it. So I guess it's a smart pairing up. Interesting.
Yeah,
though.
it's weird, a little odd.
It is very weird because they kind of backdoored two famous people into doing big commercials, which, to be fair, those commercials were on the Super Bowl. Maybe there's some sort of like, it's only playing once on the Super Bowl. It won't be played on TV again after this, or it'll
Right.
only be online spots or something like that. But it's interesting.
It has the feel of a thing that was supposed to be viral that they didn't trust to go viral. You know,
What an excellent fucking analysis.
like it should have been the thing that, like, oh, look what I fucking found, this weird thing that they shot. It's buried in a website. It's an ad with Bruce Wayne. Instead, it's we spent $2 million to show you 30 seconds of this commercial,
Yeah.
which is a little okay.
Or maybe they were like, we had a spot that we wanted to go with, but like we just showed a spot with Doomsday, and maybe we don't want to show another spot. But I don't know. It's like February, and this
Movie's
thing
out in a
opens March
month.
25th.
Movie's out
Yeah,
in
it's like a month and change. So it was a weird decision, not a bad one,
No.
and it also is an insight into the movie and stuff. It's just very untraditional.
Yeah, like by now with this stage is when you hit them hard.
That
And this
my
feels-
choice. I mean, number one, I would have had a Suicide Squad commercial on the same one that they did. I would have done a 30-second spot, got that on there. But yeah, I would have went a little more like, hey, they're fighting.
Ba-bum, 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 ba-bum,
Yes.
punch, punch, Batwing, and then you're out.
Bang, a little less meta and a little more meta. You know what I'm saying? Thank you.
Lord, tickle the balls.
In any
Tickle the
event,
shaft.
though, it's original. In a world where we all want originality, those two spots are very original. So hats off for the originality, man. Hats off to all the fine marketers behind all these spots. Because let's be honest, I know we're supposed to credit the filmmakers, but the true filmmakers of these spots are not the people who made the movies, but the
Nope.
people that took that movie and turned it into like 30 seconds of like, I must see it. They sold Marc Bernardin's wife an X-Men movie.
Which, let's not kid ourselves, is a huge fucking sell.
Somebody at Fox deserves a fucking raise. Here,
Yeah.
take this to your boss. The guy who made fucking
We're gonna have Phil
Tusk
Rudd
is saying,
deliver it.
yeah, Phil Rudd will fucking
Philly Rudd with an envelope showing up at your house, buddy.
Philly Rudd is, you don't fuck around, Philly Rudd. Philly Rudd's just like, what do you need? In any event, that's all the news we got this week.
Pretty much, man.
Thanks for hanging out and watching us read other people's news, man. Most of this was sourced from comicbook.com, comic book resources, a bunch of fine websites and whatnot. Without them, we have no show. We certainly don't have a show without our producer, Matt.
Matt! Yay!
He's the one that steals all the news from the websites.
Yes. Highway robbery.
Totally.
Thank you, sir.
But hey, man, we're not delivering breaking news. This is just us filtering the news for you, man.
Massaging it a little
Yeah, I
bit.
was just making a call. That's just it. And then giving it back to you.
Yeah.
Makes it a little easier to take when it comes from us.
Pretty much.
Non-threatening dudes with little dicks and boobs. That's the original title for the show, but instead, Fat Man on Batman rhymed, so we went with that. See? For Fat Man on Batman, I'm Kevin Smith.
Marc Bernardin.
Mark Boobs Bernardin, as we call him. Come back, see us in the Fat Cave in a couple days, man. Same fat time, same fat channel.
YouTube.com/Kevin Smith.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.